Hello, we're back and we're going to finish up our Santa. So what I have here is we're going to make the little poof ball to go on the end of Santa's hat. But I kind of want to glissy this up a little bit. So the first thing we're going to do is I've got a pipe cleaner. This is a 3-inch styrofoam ball. Now if you have it, if you have your own ornament, you can do this with whatever you want to do. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to poke a hole in this styrofoam ball because I need to insert a pipe cleaner to be able to attach this to my hat later on. And I'm going to shoot some hot glue down in there. And insert my pipe cleaner. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some red yarn. And I'm going to use some white yarn. I'm going to kind of make a candy stripe looking ornament. Now you can buy the ornament like I said. I just prefer to make this one. So I'm going to take both of my yarns and I'm going to pull out quite a bit to get started. And we're going to pull them side by side at the same time. Now the reason I'm going to do the red and white is because I kind of want the little poof ball to stick out past the beard, so I just kind of wanted to change the colors. So what I like to do with my two is I'm going to put a knot in the end to start it. Then I'm going to tie it. I'll tie it really tight. Then I'm going to cut this as close as possible to the knot. Around my pipe cleaner is where I'm going to start. And by the way, don't ever put your hot glue gun on your cutting mat because it will warp your cutting mat. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue down first, just a little bit to start this. And that's where I'm going to lay my knot. I'm going to lay it right up there next to my pipe cleaner. Now, if you have a temperature setting on your glue, for the styrofoam, I definitely recommend a low temp glue gun. If you use a hot temp glue gun, it will melt the styrofoam. And it does it pretty quick. And you'll literally see it boil down. So I'm giving this just a minute to cool down. And you know, you can do these ornaments yourself. I like to do these when I can't find exactly what I want. Ornaments can be fairly expensive and pretty pricey. They can be, I've seen them $7 a piece. So it's just cheaper for me. The pack of 6 styrofoam balls, you can get them in several different sizes depending on the size of ornament you want. They're about $4.99. And this is be one of the few things that I make for myself because it really is cheaper. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to put some hot glue down because we're going to start making our circle. Now don't pull on your yarn. You're placing it around. You want to do it gently because we're going to start making our circle. And be careful. You're probably going to burn your thumb on the hot glue or whichever finger because you're going to want to press this down into the hot glue. So just be very careful. Make sure you're touching just your yarn. And I always, when I start out, I give this a little bit time to cool down so it doesn't squinch and move on the ball. So I'm kind of like zigzagging back and forth so I can catch both of the yarns at the same time. And I don't go very far. You can't go very far with a low temp gun. because the hot glue does cool down pretty fast. I don't know why we say dry, it's actually cool down. And once you get the top started, you can just rock and roll along. So don't pull, I'm just laying it on there. And there's all different kinds of yarns. This is a pretty thick yarn that I used. And there's all different kinds of yarns out there that you can do this with. And I mean, you can just get so many ornaments so cheap doing this as opposed to having to buy them. And what I'll do is I'll take a day and decide what kind of ornaments, what colors I want, and I'll make some up. My daughter helps me, and it's just a fun little project for me and her to do together. See, I take my thumb and I'm just kind of pushing it down every now and then so the yarn sits down into the glue. And I've done all kinds of fun things. I actually braided the yarn. I took 3 pieces of the yarn and I braided it one time. And that did take a little bit of work, but it gave me the look that I wanted for the addition to my wreath. So see, I'm taking my finger and just kind of going around. Make sure you use a clear hot glue. When you're doing this. And I'm just zigzagging back and forth so that I can get both pieces. I can get hot glue on both pieces of the yarn. Like I said, I'm not pulling on it, I'm just laying it there. You don't want to pull on it because then it won't be as thick. And then I just go back around and I push it down into the glue. And you notice I'm going a little bit further each time with my hot glue. And just be careful how you hold your ornament because you'll end up burning your fingers and putting it in the hot glue like I just did. But that's the nice thing about low temp too. It won't burn as bad as the high temp hot glue gun. And if you can't work that fast, obviously, don't go as far with your bead of hot glue. Now, it actually gets to a point that you don't even need to put the hot glue down anymore, and that's about halfway down the ball. And you can just go around without hot glue. You don't have to worry about it coming off. And then once you kind of get to a certain point that you notice that it's starting to round back down kind of like a flat, then you need to start doing your hot glue again. Because it'll start sliding down. And that's a little bit difficult. Because you're going to end up pushing your yarn up just a little bit more to get it to stay. Notice I'm pushing it, not really pulling on it and placing it, but I'm pushing it more into place now that we're at the bottom of the ornament because it's trying to slide down. Hot glue on my fingers kind of makes it hard to continue on with it rolled up on my fingers. Like I said, you can just go out and buy the ornament if you want to. I do have some of these, but I thought it'd be fun to show you how to make one. And I've pulled 3 pieces of yarn at the same time. You could pull 3 pieces, and if you want more red, less white, you can pull 3 pieces at the same time, 2 red and 1 white. Whatever effect you're wanting, you can do. And as far as making things, this doesn't bother me. It doesn't seem like it takes that much time. With Christmas coming up, this style red and white ornaments, stuff like that, they're really expensive. So I just prefer to sit down and make them. And if you're worried about the yarn and stuff, you just get a clear lacquer spray and spray your ornament to seal it if you want to. Yarn doesn't go through the same process that normal fabric does. So to make sure that it doesn't run, it probably is a good idea to spray it, especially the reds. So it kind of gets a little tricky as we're starting to finish up. And I just went ahead, filled the whole area with hot glue because this goes pretty quick with 2 pieces of yarn. I'm really pressing it down with my thumb to finish it up. And I'm going to come around to finish this up. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut. And I'm going to press that in there. And then what I'm going to do to hold that in there is on top, I'm going to just shoot some hot glue in there. And I'm going to use my hot glue gun to push it in and lay it down. So just be careful when you're doing that. You don't want to get wipe too much with your glue or it's going to make a mess. So there we have our ornament to put in Santa's hat. Easy, fun. So now I just got to wait for the tip to finish cooling. Get my hot glue gun out of the way because I don't want to burn my house down. I'm going to blow on it, try to help it. And sometimes these bad little edges, you can go back and just trim just ever so slightly. Just give it a little trim. Okay, so now we're going to bring Santa back over here. And we're going to add the little ball to his little Santa hat. And for this, I'm grabbing some of the beard mesh because I don't want to push everything out of the way. I kind of want the ball to kind of lay on top of the beard. I kind of want to tilt it off down to the side. And I'm going to tie it down to the frame. And there you go. You have the cutest little Santa. And the perfect thing about this is it's different from the other Santa ones. This one will fit behind somebody's screen door. Thank y'all so much for joining me for this cute little simple project. See y'all next time.